You are listening to GORCAST, you idiot.
See, that's one of those things, like, I think I live vicariously through people when I see somebody who's really passionate about what they're doing. Like that was a boat that I missed on, like, because I, like, you know, every now and then I'll be like, man, like, it would have been cool to work in a restaurant and have that, like, in the trenches kind of, like, because I never really worked. I had a job for just a little bit at an Italian restaurant where I made, like, salads and I would take the bread to them and, like, you know, run food sometimes, but I never was on a line with the boys. You know? Like,
I'm sure all of my friends who I worked with there would be like, "Why are you reminiscing about that shitty place?" You know, that place sucked. But it was my,
it's the retrospect.
It was the first restaurant job. So it's like,
how old were you when you did that?
20.
20?
Yeah.
And when you were doing that, were you like, did you get that job because you wanted to do food, or was it just like I need a job?
Purely beer money.
Beer money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, needed to. I was in college, needed to go out.
The beer fund had to grow.
And I liked cooking.
Yeah.
I used to cook for all my roommates, the same ones that, you know, like were on the line with me. I would cook. We had like this pool that we would throw money into, and I would make them like Texas stuff, you know, like Frito pie and enchiladas and fajitas.
So you already had the Texas inspiration, kind of?
Yeah, when
you moved here from Tallahassee?
I grew up here in Austin, and then I just went to college in Florida.
Oh, so you were taking the Texas cooking down to Florida. Yeah. Okay, cool. And so did you find through doing that first job at the greasy seafood spot that you wanted to, you're like, okay, I like doing food stuff. I want to make it like a career, or did you? No,
not really. Not right away. I kind of wanted that experience of working in a food, you know, place, and just to kind of, or just working in a restaurant, because I don't know. I thought that was an interesting sector of the landscape. You know, I had always gone to restaurants, and I was always kind of curious, like, what's going on back there?
Right.
You know,
sounds like, loud and fun.
Yeah. How does this food get here? You know, how does anybody cook anything? And I watched a lot of like Food Network growing up. I would change right from like Saturday morning cartoons to like cooking shows.
When you were like how old?
Oh, when I was a kid. You know?
Oh, yeah. So
I was always interested in food, and so that was kind of a natural thing that I looked for when getting like a first job.
Yeah.
And then when I kind of finished college, it was 2008. There's not any really jobs around, so I came back to Austin and went to culinary school. Just a brief stint.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Kind of like it was not like a postgraduate thing. It was just like a certificate program, like very quick, like 6 months.
Was it one of the ones where they're like, if you do this, then you'll be like in the running to get jobs at different places, or was it just, you know what I mean? Sometimes I know they put you in restaurants right out of culinary school sometimes, right?
Well, I mean, you can pretty much get a job at any restaurant whether or not you have graduated from culinary school.
Yeah.
But this program was specifically a lot of career changers. Mine was, I mean, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had an English degree. I was thinking about something editorial focused, and then I liked food, so I wanted to maybe write about food. So I was like, all right, journalism. Culinary school, real quick education on basics, and then we can go from there. My girlfriend at the time lived in New York, moved up there. I moved up there after culinary school.
Okay.
Worked at a few restaurants.
So you lived in New York for a little while?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What part?
I lived in Astoria, Queens, and I worked at Hill Country Barbecue off of 26th.
So you were doing barbecue in New York?
Yeah.
Just right away?
That was my first barbecue job.
Okay, cool. And when you were in barbecue in New York, were you like, okay, did you always want to start a barbecue spot? Or like, when did that come into your mind from cooking at the Paradise to like now you own, like, you know, one of the top barbecue spots around? It's like, how did we get here?
Well, I worked at a few places in between there.
Okay.
Specifically this one place in Austin when I was in culinary school called Hudson's on the Bend. It was like this fine dining, wild game, kind of Texas-infused, smoky restaurant with a lot of really good wine and really good hospitality, and that had a lot of influence on me. And New York City in general had a lot of influence on me, on the fast pace and just the kind of different cultures and stuff. That was the first time I ever had kimchi and brisket together.
Oh.
That's obviously something we specialize in now.
At Leroy's, yeah.
Yeah. So kind of that exposure to different things kind of woke me up a little bit. And then when I was at Hill Country, I saw things happening in Austin. I saw Franklin doing stuff down here, and John Miller, and some other people kind of blowing up. And I thought I wanted to go back to Austin and do our own thing.
Yeah. And so how did, because barbecue kind of changed around here a little bit, right? Like over how long would you say the past, how many years? How's it been? The last decade, it's kind of transformed a little bit into what it is now.
More, I think a little bit more than a decade, but yes, so Franklin opened in I think 2009.
Okay.
In a truck, and he basically raised the bar on quality for everybody. His was obviously the best because he paid the most attention to like all the details. Barbecue before was not like I would say a strong detail-oriented thing. It was kind of like old guys throwing meat around, kind of season it like with, just a handful, kind of, eyeballing it every time.
Right.
Consistency's always been prized in barbecue, but
it wasn't as much of a craft.
Yeah.
Well, back then,
right. Aaron kind of elevated every aspect of the brisket cook, from the smoker, the wood, playing with the fire, the trim, the seasoning, the wrap, the rest, the slice. Like every step along the way was looked at with a fine-tooth comb, and that's what changed.
Would you say that everybody's pretty in agreement in the industry that he did that? That he was one of the big people behind.
Most people are, and if you're not, then you just hold a grudge for some reason.
Because your place isn't as popular.
Yeah. But the reality is, none of us would be here cooking barbecue if it weren't for.
And so now it's much more about the finer details, like what kind of wood you're using, or.
Yeah, I mean, now it's such a completely different landscape because as soon as the quality bar was raised for everybody, then there was, a few other barbecue places opening up, trying to do a little bit different, trying to challenge kind of on quality and popularity, and now it's going through a much more nicheification. Mm-hmm. You've got kind of Valentina's with Tex-Mex, you've got people like Loro with Asian, people like us with kind of New American.
Mm-hmm. I haven't been to Loro yet.
Really good. Check it out.
Maybe we should go.
Yeah,
I got to go there. What is it again?
It's like just Asian smokehouse. It's actually the brainchild of Franklin and Uchi.
Oh, I've been to Uchi.
Yeah, Uchi's super good.
The really crazy good sushi place. Mm-hmm. Yeah, expensive.
Actually, tip, you got to go to the happy hour. Sake social hour. Really cheap sake and like really very affordable. Little sushi bites and other kind of stuff.
I remember when we were there, we did not go during happy hour, and we went with 4 dudes, and we just kind of was like, bring us whatever, we want to try everything, because I didn't live here at the time, so I was just trying to eat everything in sight before I had to go home, and it was like a $500-$600 tab.
It can get out of hand.
It got really out of hand. Quickly. But we had the last thing they brought us was this like Wagyu nigiri.
Yeah,
and it was like this piece of.
Yep.
Delicate little piece of Wagyu on top of some rice. It was fantastic.
So good.
So how there's so many like barbecue places out here. It's really just not only in all of Texas, but just in Central Texas alone. Yeah. What do you think there's like 5,000? How many barbecue places? You just how many are there?
You think what in Austin? Yeah, in Austin, how many barbecue places are there?
If you had to guess, we're not going to look it up. Well, you could look it up.
I'd say I'm going to go with a guess of 50. I'm going to say
50? Like just total 50 barbecue
50.
Places? Okay,
50 is a lot.
I guess that's a lot.
50 barbecue places.
Just all of Austin.
50 is a lot, dude.
Okay, maybe I got big numbers in my head. Maybe I'm thinking all of Texas. I don't know. But how do you guys kind of stand out in a saturated market? You know what I mean? And I guess not only just in barbecue, but just I bring it up just in general because what I do, being a creative person, or anyone could look at. I have a theory about market saturation, which is that it maybe doesn't exist, and it just gives you more of a an ability to stand out. I guess it's more of a perspective than a theory, but
Yeah.
it seems like because you could say the same thing for being in a metal band or
Right.
starting a podcast
Yeah.
or anything that anyone wants to do. I feel like is met with the general scrutiny from friends and family and other industry people of, oh, well, there's already so many people doing it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
how do you stand out? I mean, I know that Leroy is different, and we'll get into why. But just in general, I mean, how do you stand out in a saturated market?
It's pretty easy to stand out in barbecue because everybody cooks the same stuff,
Yeah,
right?
true.
I mean, that's how we basically started. Was like, why don't we cook something else?
And
That's
you
the
guys are
first
more
question.
chef inspired, right?
I mean, you can call it that. You can call it whatever you want.
Right.
Locally sourced. That's really what that's the main difference. That's
Right.
where we started from. That's where we kind of like take all of our inspiration from. Is where we get the meat, right?
Mm-hmm. And where is that?
So our beef cheeks come from 44 Farms, which is in Cameron, Texas. Our briskets come from Heart Brand Beef, which is out of Flatonia. And
How far is that away from?
Flatonia is pretty close, hour and a half.
Okay.
And our whole hogs come from right outside of Corpus Christi and Mount Lucas. So all of our beef, all of our meat, pork comes from Texas.
Couple 100-mile radius or something.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Whenever we get chickens, they're coming from Dripping Springs. If we
close,
get
yeah.
ducks, they're coming from Cedar Creek, which is very close.
I've never had duck barbecue.
So all of our the meats come from Texas. So we have a very basic philosophy that the best Texas barbecue comes from meat that
is there
comes
people
from Texas.
that don't? It seems like a no-brainer. Like, is there people that don't do that?
Almost nobody does
Where do
because
they get their meat from?
just commodity meat comes from anywhere there's a lot of beef ranches, right? Which
Right.
is all the way up through the Great Plains. Some of it is Texas, but some of it's Kansas all the way up to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, like the nicest places are Creekstone, right? That's one of them, which is a branded beef. It's a company that that has a network of farms that they
And where are they
manage.
from?
They're from Kansas.
Oh, Kansas. Okay.
So there is good local Texas beef. It
Yeah,
just
why not just get it
costs
right here?
more.
Oh, it costs more. Okay.
And the quality is higher.
How much does that end up affecting the price, like per pound, roughly?
So we, in the eyes of the consumer, are competitors with other barbecue places. So we have to meet their prices,
Right.
or at least come close. But the price that we pay for the meat is almost twice as expensive.
Whoa.
So sometimes we're paying twice as much for something that we can only maybe charge 20% more for.
Right, because you can't say come to get our brisket because it's local and it's so much better because they're just going to go to Terry Black's or
Well,
something.
but we also have to make it really good.
Right.
If we are sourcing a higher product, we have to make sure, or a nicer product, we have to make sure we treat it really well.
Right.
Pay very close attention to it and make sure that we cook it really well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just lost and it's disrespectful to the whole
meat.
supply chain,
Yeah.
for the farmer and the
You can't just throw it
animal
on.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where everything starts, is from the meat.
So when you were first starting out, Leroy and Lewis, first of all, how did the whole thing come together? So you're working at barbecue place in New York, and then you moved back here to do it, or?
Yeah, we moved back in 2012, and I started working at a barbecue place called Friedman's.
I feel like I've heard of that before.
They opened in 2012. They closed in 2018. But I worked there. Brad Chud worked there. Our friend Chris McGee, who now owns Briskets, worked
good.
there. Chris and I were the two main pitmasters there.
Okay.
Joel Garcia from Teddy's Barbecue in the Valley, top 50 this time. He worked there. And Lane Milne and Jalen Hurd from Goldie's, who were Texas Monthly #1, worked there as well.
Need to go there,
so
too.
all of us at the same time.
Damn.
Yeah, it was cool.
If
It was
you got
fun.
that, that'd be a super group right now.
Yeah,
If
it was. It was.
So when you guys all left, did the quality go down over there? Or?
Yeah, that's kind of probably why. I mean, they had problems.
They closed?
They had problems from the top down from
Okay.
the very beginning. But it was a cool space, and they had really good drinks, and the
Nice.
food was really good. There was a time when that place was really cool and pumping and putting out some really good food,
Yeah.
and I was really proud of it.
Sweet.
But when it came time to leave, when it came time to open up Leroy Lewis. I had met Nathan and Sawyer, my business partners, through some mutual friends, my friends from high school.
The Lewises?
Yeah.
Okay.
My friends from high school. Basically, I grew up in Austin. Some of them went to UT here, and they met Nathan and Sawyer. And so we just had those mutual friends.
Are they passionate about the food too, or are they just more the business side? Like, are they barbecue fanatics themselves? Or
well,
I imagine it'd be hard to be in the business if you weren't really into it.
I mean, they're both huge foodies to begin
Yeah.
with. They're, restaurant people. They are hospitality people.
Nice.
Sawyer has been in the industry for over, 15 years. She's been at the highest level and every single level of every front of house operation. She has so much experience and is the best person in that capacity in the front of house and the hospitality capacity that I've ever worked with. She's
Nice.
amazing. Just had a baby too.
Nice.
And Nathan is like a brewing scientist. He's he's the biggest beer nerd of all, right? But not like the kind of like
not like this one
collector guy.
Oh,
but he's
yeah.
like he can taste everything and knows every single process.
He knows the
about
chemistry
yeasts and he knows every single thing there is to know about
He's
beer.
a mad scientist.
So the idea originally was to open a brick and mortar brew pub, barbecue and kind of German style beers. That's still the idea. We're building in Kyle, so hopefully that'll be happening in 24 probably.
So that's coming up.
Sweet. But we wanted to get it going fast because we knew real estate in Austin was really difficult to handle.
Yeah.
And we started with a food truck, decided, we thought we would be in a brick and mortar within 2 years. Here we are.
It never goes as fast
five
as you
or 6 years later.
Yeah.
Still waiting on it.
So how long ago did it start? Did you open the truck?
2017.
2017. All right. Well, you guys are making waves. Haven't been around too long
happening.
still.
Yeah.
Sweet. And then so going back to kind of what you guys do differently, you mentioned you guys have kimchi on the menu. Obviously, I know what you guys do differently, but I just wanted to tell people and one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on here, besides, we've traveled to a different city together and had a lot of fun in Houston. I think that what I've noticed locally since I moved here is that there's so much potential for the cart's kind of reputability to grow still. Like, you'd think you made the Texas Monthly, like, we're getting up towards the peak here of people knowing about the cart, but like not everyone I know, like most of the people I ask about the cart still haven't been there. And it's definitely a fun experience if, like you said, you're kind of tired of going to the same places or different places and getting off the same offerings. So you can say, well, you got to try Leroy Lewis. So I kind of want to do whatever I could to get the word out. You know what I mean? Probably a lot of people who watch this will already know who you are.
Yeah.
I'm out here. I'm this unofficial street team, like telling people to go to Leroy Lewis because I have I deeply care about the cart and the truck, excuse me. I'm still in the Portland lingo.
Dude,
you taught me. I'm really trying to correct it. It's a truck, not a cart.
It's a food truck park.
It's a food truck park. It's not a food cart pod when you're in Texas. It's different. But yeah, I want more people to go check it out because it seems like there's still so much more potential for the cart to gain even more traction and popularity when I'm talking to these people and I'm like, you've lived here for your whole life and you don't know what Leroy Lewis is. Like, get with the program here.
That's one of the craziest things about the internet is because we have started this whole content arm and operation that you've experienced and been a part of. And we have people who are huge fans of us from online from all over
different states
the world.
Right.
I met a guy the other day who's just like, hey man, I'm from South Africa and I'm like making a pilgrimage to come see you guys.
That's so crazy.
And meanwhile it's like
people down the street, down Congress don't know.
Yeah, it's game day and UT and Bam are playing and people could give a fuck, It's like, they don't care.
Exactly. Well, they need to know. They'll know once, they'll know sooner or later. So
no, I mean, making the list, the Texas Monthly list, like
I wanted to talk about that too.
Just wonders for the business.
What's the before and give me the before and after? You know what
Basically,
I mean?
like turned our busiest day into an average day, and then turned our slowest days, or like our slow days were kind of like. it just doubled everything.
Yeah.
Right. So our busiest days are twice as busy. Our slow days are twice as busy.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So it's life changing to make that list.
Absolutely.
And it comes out once every
4 years.
4 years. So you guys are sitting up at the top for a couple of years.
Yeah, for now. But we always have to. We earned that spot, so now we have to keep earning it every day because everybody who's coming, kind of knows that or usually is aware of that or has heard of us because of that. So we want to keep that reputation.
Right.
And then obviously, they're going to start judging for the next one soon. So we got to keep it up and keep grinding.
A lot of top fiver tourists out there.
Oh,
I was at Interstellar a couple weeks ago because I hadn't been back there since they made the list.
Yeah.
And which is crazy because it went from I was the only person there.
Yeah.
Just hanging out with John.
30 people.
And then now it's like I was in line for 45 minutes. It's just wild. But I was talking to a couple people about y'all, and I was like, Leroy and Lewis, we just did an event with them and blah, blah, blah. And just talking in the line like you do. And they were like, oh, we're going there tomorrow. It's on the list. So people are definitely out there doing the top 5 tourism. But that definitely changed things.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Did that make some of the dreams of like going brick and mortar and stuff seem a little bit more realistic after you? I mean, you were going to do it anyway, probably, but then it's like, okay, now we're fucking running.
Yeah, for sure. It was something that, so when Friedman's opened, it opened at the end of 2012, and it just like barely didn't make the judging for that year's list in 2012, right? The one that came out in 2013.
Friedman's.
Right. Another one came out in 2017, and the food truck didn't open until March, and that list came out in May. So there was like 8 years of, my food and me missing it, just kind of like barely. So it was something that I was specifically chasing for a while. And I knew that, that I cooked with the best of them and that we could achieve that. And we had the team and we had everything in place. But it just felt good to be vindicated. It was the highest rank a food truck has ever achieved. So we could say that we're the best barbecue food truck that's ever existed in Texas.
Wow. That's pretty, because all the rest of them are brick and mortar spots.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So what was that thing that you kind of tweaked? If you had to put your finger on it, do you know?
What do you mean?
You said that you were making adjustments and you were like almost making the list. You're almost making that top list.
No, there was, it's not that we missed it. We just missed the timing.
Oh, the timing.
Okay,
I see.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you nailed it this time.
Yeah, we got it.
So how do you keep that status, and have you seen people keep it? I guess I should ask. Like, is it a hard thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Look at Snows, look at Franklin.
Snows,
like they've been. If you make the top 10 like 3 times in a row, dude, like Franklin Barbecue, come on, they're number 1, number 2, number like 7 now. Like, yeah,
right.
That's like legacy type stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. So this is the first round of your legacy draft here, whatever you want to call it. I love it. What's the hardest part about owning a barbecue restaurant? Coming from somebody who has no idea, I don't really understand the inner workings. I just know how to eat it.
Yeah.
What are some of the hardest things? I guess it doesn't have to be the hardest part, but just like what are some of the hardest things to deal with?
There's a lot of unknowns, like specifically with a food truck, the weather is really can really mess you up.
Yeah, because you guys are working in the pit. In this summer, for example, it was 100 plus for like 2 months straight.
Yeah, it's hot out. It's hot in the summer. It's cold in the winter. The weather sucks. When it's raining, it's the worst. We've been out there in every sort of condition. In a hurricane, in a tornado, in a blizzard.
You're just flipping briskets out, wrapping up briskets.
Like everything, dude. It's been horrible. Weather sucks. I would say that's the worst, but also the best is the people. The people are the best part of it. The people are the worst part of it.
You mean the people you work with, or the people?
Both.
Both.
So some of the best people we obviously work with. Right. But some people that you've worked with in your career are some of the worst people that you've worked with, right? You've worked at jobs before where you're just like, wow, that's probably the worst person I've ever met in my entire life.
Definitely some characters. And
not at Leroy and Lewis.
No, but that's just in food industry in general, probably, in the restaurant world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That but customers, obviously some of the worst people, some of the best people.
Yeah,
I would say it's people also, but with the caveat that they're also the best.
You're dealing with making sure this meat factory doesn't sink.
Yeah,
and then you're also having to be nice to everyone, whether they're nice to you or not. Like in the restaurant, where like doing the hospitality grind. Exactly, it's insane.
It's hard.
Yeah. So what do you guys sell the most of at Leroy Lewis?
Burgers, beef cheeks, brisket.
Oh yeah, the burger is something we should talk about, because that was a little bit of a game changer.
Yeah,
the burger.
Yeah.
Who came up with that idea?
I think it was kind of Brad and myself collectively. Okay. I don't remember exactly.
Nobody had done anything like the Leroy Lewis burger at the time, right?
Right.
There's a couple carbon copies now.
Right. Well, we kind of wanted to do something with brisket scraps that wasn't another beef sausage, because we had a pork sausage on the menu that wasn't selling already, all of it. So we didn't want to put another sausage on there to just like waste. So we decided to do a burger. The only way we could do it is kind of holding it. So we had to make sure that it could hold well.
Without like mixing some kind of a binder thing in there or something?
Well, I mean, not... Other than a binder, we just didn't want it to dry out in the warmer, right?
Sorry, I didn't know what
I've never heard of just holding it warm. When you think of a burger, you
have
think
to
of
cook it.
Yeah, it's got to be fresh right away. But we found that that's not true.
Okay.
So we cook them in batches, and it's like barbecue. We treat it like barbecue.
Okay.
We do the trim and the form. So we trim the briskets, grind the meat, form the patties. Mm-hmm. We season them, smoke them. Then we take them off and let them rest. We put a big plancha in the firebox. It gets ripping hot, and we sear them very hot and fast.
To order?
No, not to order.
Okay.
In a batch.
In a batch.
And then we put cheese on top, and we hold them in the warmer. They stay at that temperature, 140, right where we want them. Nice and juicy. They've been smoked, so they're flavorful. They've got a smoke ring. They've been seared, so they're crusty. The cheese on top keeps them moist. Kind of the tray on the bottom sits in a little bit of juice. So they just go on a toasted bun. The bun takes 30 seconds to toast, and it's ready.
It's so good. It's crazy. You bite into it, and you're like... The thing about burgers in general is just like every time I taste a burger that shocks me, I'm like, I don't know how this is still tricking me. Like how is you've had so many burgers in your lifetime, and sometimes you taste one and you're like, it can still be reinvented. It can still be exciting.
Yeah, there's different elements to it.
Yes.
It's a little bit more free-flowing than just a barbecue, because barbecue is like brisket. It's like, is it executed well? Is it seasoned well? Is it rendered?
Yeah.
Well, with burgers, I mean, so many. You can go thicknesses on patties. You can go cheeses. You can go vegetables. You can go
more customization options.
So many different ways to do it, man.
Yeah, and you guys said you sell a lot of beef cheeks too, right?
Oh yeah,
that's another mainstay.
It's kind of our signature.
You don't see that a lot. Is there a reason for that? Like, are they kind of temperament? Are they hard to cook, or is there a reason that not a lot of places do the
most
cost?
People don't like trimming them.
Okay. And what part of the animal is that for people that don't know?
It's the cheek. It's the cheek.
It's just the actual cheek.
It's the cheek. It's the face meat.
Okay.
Yeah. So they come in like two lobes, two pieces connected by a lot of tissue and fascia and fat and kind of like connective stuff and weird face meat. So you got to trim out a nice piece.
Okay.
And
that takes time, which costs money.
Yeah. And then the volume that you get, or the mass that you get of actual nice trim cheek, is about half of the amount you get of the trim. So you have to do something with all that. We make ours into barbacoa by just doing the same process, smoking it, cooking it in a confit till it's very tender, and then shredding it. But the beef cheeks, we smoke them, cook them in the confit till they're just tender but not falling apart.
Yeah.
And so we slice those like a brisket, and we shred the other scraps like chopped beef.
The first time I had it, I was like, this is like the 70% cacao chocolate of meat. You know what I mean? Like when you taste it, it just is like, it's like a dark, rich chocolate or something.
Sticky.
Of meat.
Like all the gelatin in there just melts and is so sticky and so
This is not a podcast
luscious.
for vegans to listen to.
No, not at all. It's good though, man.
So with food waste and stuff, you guys you get pretty creative with that, right?
Yeah, we really don't throw anything away.
Is that a standard across the board, or is that kind of just a thing that, like a select few people are focused on?
It's something that has been preached to me my entire career.
Throughout all different kinds of...
Yeah, but I've been to other restaurants where they're just like, no, we just throw that away. Sorry. It's like, we don't have anything. We don't have time to deal with it. We don't have this or that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the way that we have done our menu, arranged our menu with the meats and the sides, make sure that we don't waste anything. We have like a place for everything that's left over to go to.
Like, do you have some other examples, or?
So if there's ever leftover burgers, we don't really have burgers left over, but if there's leftover burgers, they get made into chili. If any kind of extra pieces that's on the hog that aren't like real beautiful, like nice, pieces of meat, that would just be like waste, but we put it into a hash and rice. That's how we make the hash.
That's good.
If we have leftover sausage, it goes into our braised cabbage and sausage dish.
I think I've had that one.
That one's really good. It's like it's a side dish.
Yeah.
Everything else that we like, anything that we have left over has a place to go.
Yeah.
So rendered pork lard goes into our refried beans. Just like anything that has like, if there's leftover anything, it has another place to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do these sides and stuff pop up, like for anybody that listens that wants to go to the truck and check it out? Do these sides just kind of pop up at random? Or
no, we have them all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the worst job in cooking that you ever had? You don't have to name names.
What is the
Unless
worst job I ever had? I worked
in food service.
I worked at this place on campus at UT. Actually, that kind of sucked, dude. It was,
what was it? What kind of food was it?
It was like a cafe.
Okay.
Like a little on-campus cafe.
Yeah.
It's like you can go there and get a wrap, or like a salad with like, whatever, some kind of chicken that was in a bag.
Oh.
Yeah. It was fine.
Yeah.
But, it was just
what was rough about it?
It was it was not, I don't know. It wasn't what I wanted to do. The food was not good. That was what was.
That's
it was pretty easy, to be honest. But
nobody there was a problem.
Nobody there wanted to be there. There was like, there was one time when I saw like an ex-girlfriend of mine there, and I was like, you don't ever want to be in a service situation with that, right? It's like
you're like, I gotta quit working here.
Yeah, it was like, what kind of dressing do you want on your salad?
Yeah, exactly. Damn it. I see your new boyfriend. He's very nice.
Well, I was I was in culinary school, and it was on the way to culinary school, and the hours worked out, and I was just like needed money.
Yeah,
so.
It's such a grind. I feel like I have some kind of passion for food, which is why I've tried to do like creative stuff with it, like photo, video stuff, and doing podcasts with people that own food businesses, just because it's like I said, of living vicariously. Because I feel like it's far too late for me. It's like fighting in the UFC or like boxing. Like I can't join right now. I'm too old. I'm past my prime. It's a young man's game. I don't have time to get 20 years of experience under my belt and then open a restaurant, or something. But
it's hard.
So how did those situations where you worked in places you didn't like? I'm assuming that kind of shapes a person's, like when they open their own restaurant, they're like, I'm gonna do things differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna give my kids what I never had.
Absolutely.
Kind of a thing. You know what I
think
mean?
at every restaurant you work, you learn more of what not to do than what to do.
Because you guys seem to have a really good kind of family unit.
Good team.
It's a
real good team.
It might be one of the most solid. I haven't interviewed everybody, but you're the first one. But it just seems rock solid. And I'm biased because my buddy Pat from Portland works with you, and that's kind of how we met and got involved with the truck. Is because Leroy's been at the center of everything for the Great Migration. You know, people coming down from Portland because our buddy moved down here to work with you, and then and that was just great.
Yeah, well, Pat's an all-star.
Dude, Pat is shout out to Pat Barrett. He
best attitude.
Pat loves barbecue on Instagram. He's amazing. He works so hard.
Yeah.
He's just like a robot. He's a tireless
and he
worker.
Loves it.
He does.
He likes cooking food.
And that's another thing about barbecue that seems like
it's in his blood.
You can't. It is, dude. You can't find. You can't build a team of people unless they all like. You have to find these people that really love.
Oh yeah.
Barbecue specifically.
Big time.
You can find people that came from like chef, like different walks of life, culinary walks of life, but wanted to be focused on barbecue because it's just such a.
Yeah.
I mean, how many hours is it for people that don't know, or I guess I don't really know, but how many hours is it just to do like a brisket properly?
Oh, it takes all day. I mean, we put them on
overnight them, right?
No, we put them on in the morning. We take them off at night, and we rest them overnight. So we don't have anybody
at a hot temperature in the heater things, right?
Yeah, at a warm temperature. We don't want anybody to work overnight. It's just it sucks.
Yeah,
it's horrible to do that. And there's no reason to. So we are not like lacking for pit space like that. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, we just don't have.
Is that something you run into now that you guys made the list? Is like, did you have to upgrade your? Did you have to buy more smokers or?
No, we didn't have to buy more smokers. We just had to kind of cook more food on different days, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds pretty simple. You kind of adapted.
We were ready, dude. We were wanting to. We wanted it so
list.
Bad. Yeah.
And if we don't, then we're selling more meat or something.
Yeah.
So you guys have a good thing in place where you're not cooking too much food. Not wasting a bunch of food.
No, we have to adhere to a pretty strict budget to kind of make it all work because, like I said before, all the meat's real expensive.
Right.
And when we're busier there, we would like to make good impression on people. We know we're going to make a bad impression on people every day because we run out of the most desired items every day.
But that's kind of, isn't there some marketing there?
There definitely is, but for us, it's much more about following the budget. Beef is fucking expensive. Yeah. So if we order too much of it, then that is literally taking like money out of the pocket of our employees, or it's like we can't afford other stuff if we order too much of it. So
can't go do events and stuff.
Yeah, we have to adhere to the budget. We have to be very careful about the amount of beef that we order, which is why pork appears in our entire menu. It's all over the place. All of our sides have pork.
More affordable?
Well, it's more affordable, yeah.
Yeah.
We try to fill our menu out with it. But yeah, beef is just so ridiculously expensive. We have to be careful about how much we.
Has the price gone up with all the inflation stuff that's happened? Have you seen the food cost price go up this year? We had one price bump, but that is a function of us kind of working outside the commodity meat industry. We have specific suppliers that get us the best meat locally in Texas. So when COVID disrupted the supply chain of the national meat supply chain, we were not affected by it. That's clutch.
Yeah. So when there's fluctuations based on the price of corn, we don't necessarily see that because that's not the main thing that
You're not buying from factory farms.
Exactly.
Big meat.
Exactly.
Interesting. So do you go around and make... Because I always thought that'd be fun to go around and source, go to the farms. Yeah. Have you been to all these farms and know all these people firsthand?
Yeah.
See, I feel like you can taste that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's super cool. So that I've always been if I ever had a restaurant, in my wildest dreams, I'd want to go around and find the guy you get your meat from.
That's the fun part. And that's what's, seeing them and their passion for it, ignites that in our staff. So we took all them down to see where our pigs are raised.
The staff field trip kind of a deal. That's awesome.
That was a lot of fun. We got to go back there sometime soon.
And it's nice, good conditions and just
they've got a big bunkhouse,
classic farm.
Yeah, we're out there cooking and just hanging out.
Gross, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
I understand. I understand vegetarians and vegans after watching some of that. Food Inc. and those. It's I was vegetarian for 6 months. Didn't last.
Yeah.
But it was bacon. It was bacon that ruined me.
Burger, bacon.
Now knowing what I know about nutrition, just what works for my body and my lifestyle, I just need need, animal fat and protein, but it's no shade to anybody who wants to be vegan, but they don't
make your own choices.
You guys make a smoked cauliflower dish, right?
Absolutely, we do, and
so that's fun for everyone.
Yeah.
You can come get the cauliflower, the kimchi, kale salad.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you stay like creative with stuff? Because this is something that's a reoccurring kind of theme. Because it's something I personally deal with a lot. Is like creative block. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you're probably constantly doing stuff, so you're always getting ideas. I know you travel a lot and go to different
I feel like it's harder to come up with new things than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like there were a few like really good ideas that we had when we were in our infancy as a truck, and we were just almost trying to like make it work. But now it's much harder to come upon those things, and they take a lot more work. We've been trying to nail a porchetta for a while.
Can you remind me what that is exactly?
So that's essentially a loin and belly, pork loin and belly, seasoned with rosemary, thyme, garlic, fennel seed, and rolled and tied. It's usually cooked on a rotisserie.
It looks like a sausage.
It's a roulade.
A roulade. Okay.
It's usually cooked on a rotisserie. Usually has crispy skin. But we've been trying to make one work on an offset smoker. We found out I knew this before, but can't get crispy skin really on an offset smoker if the skin is not flat and like covered somehow.
Like the way the whole hog was, kind of the way that we were.
Right, but on a direct pit it's easier to get. But we wanted to cook ours on the offset, so we've been messing around with the seasoning, with the thigh, with the brine, with butterflying it, and we're getting close to it. But when we were messing around in the very beginning of Leroy Lewis, it was just like, we have all these caterings who ordered brisket, and we can't get any brisket from our suppliers because it's South by Southwest, and they've promised them all of the briskets that they have. So we're going to take whatever they have, which is beef cheeks, and cook them similarly to brisket. And that's how we just came up with it. So that's kind of
happened on accident.
Yeah.
One of those kind of happenstance things.
Yeah.
It always is like that.
But it's later, it's harder to come up with
accidents don't happen like that. Things like that don't happen very
But at the same time, we're challenged to do that more often because all that information, especially the way that we are with how open we are, all that information disseminates. So you start to see the burgers, the beef cheeks, the cauliflower. Start to see the barbecado on everybody else's menu. And so that challenges us to now come up with new stuff. Is there a reason that
you choose to kind of be forward about that kind of stuff? Because I did notice that. Like, you're not even after like filming with you guys, for a day or whatever, you're more focused on the education. And you're very good at it, by the way.
Thanks.
And I've showed that video to a lot of people, and they're all like, "This guy's really good at explaining things. He's really good on camera."
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So I don't know where you got that, but it's
practice.
It's working for you. But
thank you very much.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, I can do this. Like, this isn't ridiculous." You know what I mean? And it seems like you're kind of passionate about teaching people.
Yeah, I would. I've always wanted to. When we were first starting out the truck, I felt like almost like we're in this. I felt like we're in the past with barbecue. Like, all the other cuisines are caught up. They're doing new stuff. They're sourcing well.
Like, what do you mean exactly?
I mean.
Oh, I get what you're saying with the sourcing specifically.
Yeah.
And
I was like, why are we still having the same conversation of how good is the brisket? How good are the ribs? What is the rub? What is the...
It's very one note.
Is it wet or dry?
It's very one note.
What kind of sauce do they have? How is their potato salad?
Do you want fatty or lean?
It's just like, enough of this shit. Yeah. Like, let's talk about something else. Yeah, like, this whole smoker can be used in so many different ways. You can apply it to any cuisine. It is and I say this all the time, it's a method, not a menu. It's it's a type of cooking. It's an offset, smoke flowing through this offset chamber, going out the other side. You can put anything in there. It doesn't have to be brisket, ribs, sausage. It doesn't have to be those things. So that was kind of the first.
Is that your quote? The method, not a menu?
Yeah.
That's
so we wanted. That's kind of the basis of it.
You gotta put that on some merch.
Yeah.
I'd wear that. That's a statement right there.
Yeah.
I like it. So what are some things that on that creative topic, like what are some things besides the porchetta that you like want to do? You know what I mean? Like, is there any ideas of things that I assume you have some master list or a whiteboard or a sticky note?
Yeah, mostly seafood. I just want to get more into seafood.
You've been all about the oysters.
Yeah.
Those are good too.
Yeah.
They were really tasty. And I'm not even like traditional. Now I'm an oyster guy. That was a good oyster.
I love them. I've been kind of obsessed with them lately. I went to Maine earlier this summer and just like had the best oyster of my life 3 or 4 different times on that trip alone. And then I've just been doing so much research and eating them in every different way that I can, raw, cooked, just trying to read as much and learn as much as I can about them. And it's just interesting.
So you're just super passionate about all kinds of food.
Yeah.
But seafood is your thing right now.
Yeah.
Are we going to see any seafood at Leroy and Lewis?
It's hard on the truck
It is
because keeping stuff cold is really hard there. I don't think definitely at the brick and mortar, probably not on the food truck.
And so with the brick and mortar, is there anything else that you like want to manifest into reality with that? You know, is there any?
A lot of stuff. It's going to be completely different.
Is it?
Like completely different menu.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there going to be brisket?
On Saturdays.
On Saturdays.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. So you guys you made the bold choice.
Yeah.
That you are not going to do brisket Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And that makes people upset sometimes.
That makes people upset every day. But like I am just so like beyond past that idea. Like that is just so far gone to me that
you
it's
can
just
go
like,
all
we've been doing
over
this for 5 years.
You can throw a rock in any direction and get brisket.
Yeah, but people still come up and I'll just get excited on a Friday and we'll open the window. Somebody's just like, "Are you guys out of brisket already?" And I'm just like instantly deflated and they're like, "Oh." Like, dude, we've like 4 different specials on the menu today. And like,
Pat was saying that some people have gone up to him and said, "Why don't you guys serve barbecue?"
Yeah, exactly.
They're just like, what?
Exactly. Oh, okay.
Yeah, brisket is really good though, and it is kind of fun too. You're like, "Oh, it's Saturday."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of a fun like weekend thing.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I can go to Leroy's and get brisket today." You know, and there's nowhere else where you're like, "Ooh, I can only get brisket today." It's kind of a fun weekend thing. It's again, it kind of adds to what makes you guys different, you know?
Yeah, I also just try to, I don't know, I try to not even, I don't want to say I don't think about brisket because we spend a lot of time thinking about it and the cook and the hold and just like everything about it we spend a lot of time on.
It's like a croissant for a bakery, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to, like they have to wake up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but there's bakeries that don't specialize in croissants and people are totally fucking okay with that.
Oh, exactly. That's a good point. Exactly. There's bakeries that don't even have croissants.
Yeah.
They buy them from Safeway.
Exactly. But probably not a French bakery.
No. It's going to be a pastry-heavy bakery.
So, I don't know. Yeah, it's just not what we specialize in, and I think that's fine. We will specialize in a lot of other different types of stuff. At the brick and mortar, it's going to be a lot more whole animal cooked barbecue, like a bunch of chopped. Like we're going to try to do a different and more improved version of chopped beef, essentially.
Chopped beef.
Chopped beef, just like, you know.
Like that's a New York thing, kind of.
No,
right?
chopped beef is just Texas.
Oh,
it's just
Texas
like chopped brisket.
I'm
chopped
thinking
beef,
of a chopped cheese.
Beef.
Chopped cheese.
Chopped cheese, yeah, that's like a chopped up
cheeseburger,
burger.
yeah.
I'm just talking about chopped beef.
Okay.
Most people just, chop brisket, but this will be probably a collection of different muscles cooked in a couple different ways and kind of seasoned a little bit differently.
Different muscles?
Yeah.
Like different pieces of the meat?
Yeah.
Okay. Odd cuts?
Probably not like odd cuts, but just like incorporate more whole shoulder than just a brisket.
Okay.
We use whole, pieces of whole animals or 4/4 of beef. We'll do our whole hog. We'll do kind of a similar preparation on a goat or lamb. We'll have chickens. We'll have a lineup of sausages. So the brick and mortar will be different. It won't specialize in beef cheeks every day.
Yeah.
But that will be a special, just like brisket.
Are you ever still like shocked by barbecue now? Like if you go to someone else's restaurant and you have, a barbecue, are you like desensitized to it because you're around it so much?
I love it. That's another reason that we try not to do just normal barbecues, so we can kind of maintain that kind of awe and love for that traditional stuff, because I'll go to a restaurant and just get real excited about eating pork ribs.
Right.
And there's not a lot of pit masters that say that. They're just like, God damn, another pork rib in front of my face. I don't want
What's
that.
What's the best one you've had in recent memory of pork rib?
Oh, I don't know, man. I haven't had barbecue very recently, but
Which is funny because people are like, you work at a barbecue place, right?
Yeah, I mean, but
I guess it makes sense.
I do like eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're still inspired by it sometimes.
Absolutely.
When you have it. And you're just like, wow, you're not jaded.
Yeah.
That's good. Was there ever like a time in your whole career where you felt like it was just too much? Like you were gonna, like maybe, because that's another thing that I deal with. Internal struggle, you know what I mean? Of like, should I just, pack it up and just get a job? Maybe not in that way, but like for me doing like the creative grind or the music thing, it's kind of just like sometimes you're like, like the numbers aren't always there, or whatever's going on in your personal life, and you're just like, man, like maybe I need to do something else, or maybe the dream isn't working. Or is there any time when you we're just kind of like, I guess felt like giving up is kind of a strong word, but is there, where it got really rough and rocky, I guess, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's different once you own the business. It just changes.
You can't give up. Yeah.
Yeah,
You've got staff and
before that, of course, there was at least one day that happens. It's the worst day that changes everything about that specific job. That it's like, and you notice it and you feel it, and that is the day that you have basically decided to leave. And whether or not that is,
you mean when you're working at a job, right?
Yeah. And then that is, it could be months, it could be years past that, but that was like the day that changed, right?
Right.
With owning the business, it's much different because you can't ever give up, right? There's but that,
because
low
then you're
point,
facing failure. You're not facing getting a new job.
That low point does happen like once a year. Yeah. Like not in a way that I would ever give up, but in a way that's just like overwhelmingly too much work, too much stuff going on.
Too many fires to put out. Kind of
just like, too tired, not enough sleep.
Because I dealt with that when we owned like a cannabis farm out in Oregon. And it was like, we went through a lot of that. And then eventually we just couldn't pay the bills anymore because the bills were too high and the market was all screwed up and this and that and the other reasons, that there was 100 of them, but it was kind of a thing that I went through where I was just like, all right, well, this is going to be on the list of things that just didn't work. You know what I mean?
The nice thing about Leroy and Lewis is that we have so many people to kind of rely on and to help pick up the slack and to support and to kind of shepherd you kind of back to full mental health.
Right.
As it's like different time of the year, just depending on whatever else is going on. Somebody's going to break down or lose it, but everybody else is there to kind of make sure that, okay, we get it, we hear you.
It goes further than just the daily tasks.
Yeah.
It's like having people's back mentally.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's important. It's a good environment to kind of harbor, whatever. Good rules to have. I've been watching a lot of Kitchen Nightmares.
Oh, God, dude.
So much
I can't
fun.
watch it because I'll just go in and be like, what the fuck?
You'll go into the walk-in.
It's rotten.
Exactly. Let's see. What else do I have on here for you? Shoot, man. I think we just about, covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with the biz, or anything you wanted to shout out besides come to the truck?
Come to the truck.
Eat the food.
Go to Mama Fried.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Mama Fried first for a minute. Yeah. So I have I want to hear about Mama Fried, and then I have another question. How did that whole thing come about, and what is Mama Fried?
Mama Fried is our second food truck. It's not Leroy and Lewis.
Many people don't know.
Yeah, it's a different concept. It's fries.
Which everybody loves fries.
Our barbecue, so barbacoa, we send our chili over there on top of fries. It's kind of a hybrid barbecue, like fry place. We've started to do some. It has a smoker on it. We just kind of came across this trailer.
And it was perfect.
We wanted to do a fry concept.
Where did that idea come from?
I kind of talked earlier about how expensive all the meat is and how hard we work for how little of we get. So we wanted to kind of invert that. with another concept and hopefully make a little bit of money in a little bit of an easier way and sell some of the other stuff that we collect a lot of. I also talked about how much different is between what we end up with when we trim cheek versus barbacoa. So we sell all the cheeks immediately. We don't sell all the barbacoa. So when we try to keep up ours on cheeks, we just stack up barbacoa in the freezer.
So it comes back to that using all the animal, and sometimes it exceeds what the truck can. Yeah.
So we have extra chili, we have extra barbacoa. So that gets sent over to Mama Fried, goes on top of fries there. It's a truck at the Armadillo Den. It's so good.
I stumbled into the Armadillo Den randomly, and I was like,
so good.
I was like, this place is amazing.
Dude, it's pretty badass. I love it. I love the Dillo Den.
They have giant trash can beer pong.
Yeah.
With trash cans that are spray painted red. And they have fries with barbecue on them.
Yeah, it's the best sports bar.
It is so sick.
The best sports bar.
Have you been there? Oh, dude, we're going to the Armadillo Den at some point.
It's pretty great. We're open Wednesday to Sunday over there.
Okay.
Very good place for Cowboys, for Longhorn games, for college football, for any sports.
Yeah.
Outdoor, they got a big stage. They do live music. But we are there slinging fries, slinging chopped beef sandwiches. Really good stuff.
Will there ever be
corn dogs?
Corn dogs. Leroy and Lewis corn dog or Mama Fried corn dogs?
Mama Fried corn dogs.
Are they Leroy and Lewis sausages?
No, they're just your standard 12-inch, foot-long, crispy fried, delicious corn dog.
Nothing. You're not reinventing the wheel there.
No, man, they're good. They're great. We fry them perfectly.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Will there ever be another Leroy and Lewis or Mama Fried like the way it is now, or will there only be different projects?
There will obviously be a Leroy and Lewis brew pub
in Kyle.
Yeah.
But you said that'll be different.
Yeah.
So it's still not gonna be like a carbon copy of the cart. Like you wouldn't put another. Or truck, excuse me, because like a lot of places in like Portland, they'll do multiple trucks. You know, the same exact
we don't want to do
program.
Another truck. Food trucks are so hard, man.
Yeah,
like we want to turn Mama Fried into a sports bar. But,
that would be killer. Just a brick and mortar for it.
We don't have any solid plans for that right now. So.
And then the other question that the Mama Fried reminded me I wanted to ask was, is there anything kind of like in the dream pipe that like if you, let's just say tomorrow you won the lottery and you had $1 gajillion and you could do all the different restaurant ideas that you wanted to do, maybe outside of barbecue, maybe outside of Leroy and Lewis and Mama Fried and the stuff you're doing now, is there any other kind of ideas that you've had?
So many, dude.
Yeah.
How many?
How many?
How many do you want me to name?
I don't know. Just your favorite ones right now. Maybe you can't name them because
I've said this before, but I want to make money in any way that people are making money in barbecue. So that means obviously multiple restaurants. Mm-hmm. Rubs, sauces, merchandise,
you guys release
classes,
that stuff too.
Events, books, everything that there is to make money in barbecue. Yeah. We have a unique perspective when it comes to barbecue, so we want to, put that unique perspective on all of those different things.
Yes.
So it's never going to stop. We're never going to be satisfied with just like wherever we are.
Okay, we beat barbecue. We beat the game. It's changed the game. Let's go let's play a new game now. We won barbecue.
And that's just restaurant style. That's not even talking about competition style or pits or any of this other stuff. So.
And you guys do all kinds of fun stuff like the Heat Week thing. Is that your thing or is that...
Yeah, that's our thing.
And that's just like how hot can you make the barbecue?
That was started as a way for us to get people to come to the food truck when it was really slow during the hottest part of the year.
So that's funny how that works because that's the inverse of Portland.
Yeah.
So the hottest part of the year, everyone's outside doing everything in Portland, and when it gets cooler, then people kind of start going back inside or whatever. And then in Texas, that's the slowest part for outdoor businesses. For food trucks and stuff is when it's super hot outside.
Yeah, nobody wants to be outside when it's 100 degrees. No. So the hottest week of the year, usually last week in July, sometime in early August. I was watching an episode of No Reservations, and they're in India, and they're eating spicy curry, and this guy's like, we eat it because it makes you sweat and it cools you off. Oh. And I was like, oh. So decided to do 5 different specials at the food truck during 1 week, and if you come back every day and eat the spicy special, then you get a reward at the end of the week. If it's a gift card, a piece of merch, whatever. And people like spicy food.
I don't like spicy food. Really. I mean,
some people do.
I like the first level of spicy food.
People like the challenge. Some people like the challenge.
Dude, I have a buddy that just will hurt himself. He's like coughing and he's got like snot running down. And I'm like, dude, we are in a restaurant. Like,
it's an opportunity.
Can you relax? Can you relax with the? Can you relax with the Thai chilies on this?
It's an opportunity for us to do something unique and creative. So it's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
You guys definitely keep it interesting.
5th year, I think, doing it.
You guys have other events like that you do, or is it just the
We tried to do a sweet week in January with the opposite idea when it's cold out, bring people to get desserts.
Oh.
But it turns out none of us are pastry chefs. Not saying the desserts were bad; they were all really good.
You'll have to add that to the team.
It was just harder to get. I've always wanted a pastry chef. We'll have one day, but I don't know. All the desserts were really good. I don't know. This year we just didn't feel like doing it. Maybe we'll bring it back. Who knows?
Yeah. You guys are really good with that, with like keeping it interesting. And I just wanted to highlight that and commend you guys on that. Because there's so much from, like you said, with the products. You guys do like your own. You went over it really quick, but you do your own rubs and seasonings. And is there anything else, other kind of merch for barbecue stuff?
We have just our Dalmatian rub for sale on our website. We have our beet barbecue sauce for sale on our website.
Which isn't that kind of stuff some people want to keep close to their chest or something because it's like their bread and butter.
Our rub is just salt and pepper, so it doesn't matter.
Sure.
And our sauce recipes are out amongst they're on the internet. Again,
it's just there's a confidence to that I think is awesome. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, because so many, chef people and stuff, not just people in food, but so many people like want to keep their secrets kind of close to their chest, whether even in like photography, there's people that are like, I'm always trying to give information out because I picked up a camera and learned how to do it in 5 seconds and started making money. And I'm like, everybody should do this.
There's also the fact that it just doesn't look really good if you just directly rip somebody off right away, right? Like nobody's just going to be like, here we are, we're selling beet barbecue sauce. Exactly. And then it's like, wait a minute, these guys already do that. Like, don't you know? Like,
yeah. Yeah, where'd you get that idea from?
Yeah. Exactly.
I have no idea.
Exactly.
And then you guys also do classes, which I feel like that's a no-brainer that you don't see a lot of people doing, right? I mean, is there anywhere else that does classes?
A lot of people are starting to do them.
I wonder where they got the idea.
Well, no, we're down with the first people to do barbecue classes. There's a lot of barbecue classes that are the same, and it's the same thing that we've been talking about the whole time. Right. It's like, they're going to teach you how to do the brisket. They're going to teach you how to do the ribs. They're going to teach you how to do the sausage or the turkey. Right. But the one that we do is all our food, so it's different. It's also more intensive. It's also more it's more focused on like community, which is something we really like to cultivate with our like Patreon, with our kind of like people who we reach out with, our biggest fans who will buy all of our stuff online. Anytime we release a new kind of rub or sauce or anything, the first people to buy it.
The Patreon. What's on the Patreon for people that don't know, so they can go check that out?
Over 120 videos about all of our recipes, different events that we've done, brisket, all of our meats, everything that's ever been on our menu or any event that we've ever been to since 2020, basically.
That's awesome.
So
you can kind of go back and watch the business evolve.
Exactly. Watch us go through the pandemic. Watch us kind of come out of it.
How did that affect you guys? I know you said your supply chain wasn't, but how was business with the pandemic?
Well, I mean, it obviously sucked in the very beginning, and the spring was horrible, and it came back slowly. But we got both rounds of the PPP, so that was really good. Thankful for that.
Still here.
And
then you made the list coming out of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
That was great.
Things turn around, and the world works in mysterious ways. Just got to keep pushing through.
Yeah.
Sweet, Evan. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on and doing this.
Thanks for having me.
I love chatting with you. Sometimes you meet a person and you can just kind of feel their passion when you talk to them. And I was like, this guy fucking gets it, dude. Yeah. I love it. Check out Leroy and Lewis at Cosmic Coffee. What is that? South Congress in Austin,
Pickle
Texas.
Road.
And they also have Mama Fried with the fries. You got to have the fries. That's in South. Where's that? South Austin?
Yeah, it's off of Manchac at the Armadillo Den.
At the Armadillo Den. Sign up for the Patreon.
Yep.
Support Evan and Leroy Lewis as the whole team. You're awesome, dude. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Water cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, dude.
GORCAST.